My name is Peter Davison. I played the Fifth Doctor, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls.
The Tangents is Squeaking to episode 122 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Time to open up Wikipedia and IMDb and all the other fun things because we're going to go draw some names out of a hat. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going to the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bovdale.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hello.
We're here. Yay.
We're here. And it's been wild.
Yeah. We're solidly 1 week and a day into, a week and a day. I can't do math. We're well into the new year, and it's been something. So far. How about that?
Yes.
Oh my. But we were, I don't know. We got something. I don't know. My brain ain't working today, apparently.
There's been snow and ice and freezing temperatures.
Yeah.
All over the place, so that's kind of somewhat
It's going to be like 50. Yeah. It's like freezing, and that's supposed to be 50 the next couple of days. And now they're talking about an ice storm this weekend. So I don't know what's going on. I just
we had freezing rain yesterday, and then it warmed up, and then it's supposed to snow tomorrow. So this week's weather all over the place.
We're all just.
I like to call it bipolar weather.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's something. It's definitely something. This is where we've reached a point in our lives, folks, where we're talking about the weather. So.
Well, there's not much news to talk about.
That's true. It's been quiet on the news front. That's probably because every member of Hollywood was at the Golden Globes last night, and apparently, Ryan Reynolds and Andrew Garfield couldn't keep their hands off each other. Spidey Pool, look it up, folks, and just don't say I didn't warn you. Probably the most entertaining thing of the entire awards program, actually, because nothing I really care about won nothing. So
yeah,
I was rooting for Deadpool, and it didn't happen. So
yeah, we were talking pre-show, and I was all like, I haven't even heard of that movie that won.
Yeah. It's like there's a lot of faces I recognize. Like, hey, that's
La La Land or something like that.
No, it wasn't La La Land, because I would have remembered that, because everybody on my Facebook page is losing their crap over it. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
We watch Star Wars, and it doesn't win anything, so. It's funny, because Chauncey and I just finished our watching of my Lord of the Rings box set, which includes all 3 movies plus all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And, of course, they get to the Return of the King and the end of the behind-the-scenes stuff. It ends with the Academy Awards, which Return of the King was nominated for 11, won all 11 awards it was nominated for, so it's now tied with the most Oscars won for a single movie. It's tied with Titanic and Ben-Hur, I think. And I looked at Chauncey, because, Peter Jackson, when they won, Best Picture, I think, said thanks to the Academy for recognizing, fantasy and goblins and, looking past the trolls and the wizards and the magic and all of that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that hobbits could actually win an award.
Yeah, and it's like, has fantasy won anything since? No, not really.
No, I think that year, this is my theory. I don't know if I have nothing to say this is official or not. I think the Academy was really ticked off that year because, it wasn't some pretentious, snooty, look down your nose at everybody who's never seen this movie before sort of a thing. And but they're like, even they had to grudgingly admit, yeah, this was a pretty awesome undertaking, and all not just Return of the King, but all 3 movies.
Yeah.
So they would get hammered if they didn't give it to them that year, and you'll notice no since then, and it's just, I don't know, I just the award season, it just feels so pretentious.
Yeah, and it's
snobby to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys don't know what... See, like, movies like... back in the day, movies like Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind and Casablanca, they were, like, the really good movies that everybody went to see. There wasn't this disconnect of award movies and blockbuster, popular blockbuster movies. And now it's just kind of like... Oh, that's just what the little people like to see. We're so much better than that. It annoys me, but
we're not bitter.
That's another soapbox for me.
We're not bitter at all.
Oh no, I'm not bitter. I've just had many years to cultivate this response.
Yeah. Well, for better or for worse, the Golden Globes they kick off kind of award season. So we've got the Emmys and the Oscars to. I guess either make us feel better or worse, depending on how you look
And then
at
there's
it.
the People's Choice Awards.
Yeah, so at least we
a
got
little
the
more.
People's Choice Awards, so they tend to skew more in our direction. So
Yes.
that's always a
Little
good
bit.
thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, totally unrelated tangent to anything we were going to talk about, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. So, anyway, news.
Hi, news.
What little news we have. First is apparently in the spirit of DuckTales and
Everything else
from our childhood getting a new breath of life. Apparently there is a reboot for the Magic School Bus in the works. So, it's actually being produced by Stu Stone, who actually voiced Ralphie in the original series. So at least we got someone working on it who recognizes it for what it is and the nostalgia and everything tied to it. So
now, was he the one that was always like really neurotic and nervous about going on the field trips?
No, that was Arnold.
Arnold, okay.
Yeah, Ralphie was
I wasn't
the one that wore
sure.
With the baseball cap?
I think so. I think he was on the one with the baseball hat. So, but apparently he's got original cast members that are wanting to do it. Some big name celebrities that want to do it. It is going to be updated, of course, because this is 20 whatever.
I'm a little worried about the updating of the animation.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about that, like how they're gonna change the visuals.
Yeah.
If the computer,
they look familiar. I know, and I like the way they would show the school bus transforming and whatever. I'm not sure how they're gonna do that in this new reboot.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and where it says, it's gonna be CGI animation.
Animation. That's what I'm worried about.
How
they're gonna animate it. I trust that the stories will be in line with the old Magic School Bus, but the animation is just, I don't know.
CG has a tendency to either be really, really good or look really, really cheap lately, is what I've been noticing with animation. So
it's just, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but I'm worried about the animation and how they're going to present this.
Well, let's wait and see. Let's when they start dropping previews and promo images and stuff like that, and we can go from there. But yeah, you're definitely, especially where they're saying, oh, we're going to do it computer generated. Okay. I mean, not even DuckTales is doing CG, to my knowledge, anyway. Like all the everything I've seen from that, it indicates it's going to be 2D. animation.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll
Wait and see, I guess. So, supposedly it's going to be on Netflix when it does happen, so it will be easily accessible whenever they get around to making it.
Yeah.
So. But there's no time frame or anything other than they're working on it. So if you've got a Netflix subscription, watch that space, apparently. But
Yep.
I love the Magic School Bus. It was one of my favorites.
Me too.
So I actually have a Miss Frizzle cosplay planned that I hope to complete at some point this year. So I'm excited.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So, anywhoozles. So, our only other bit of fandom-related news is apparently the CW wanted to get their horse out of the gate early with renewals. So they've already renewed 7 shows, including Supernatural, which is going to be returning for Unlucky or Maybe Lucky season 13. Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Jane the Virgin. And plus they are bringing back Constantine in animated form. So for all those people that really wanted Constantine to come back, he is. Kind of.
I've been slowly watching the one season.
Yeah. Well, apparently Matt Ryan, who played John Constantine, will be voicing Constantine. So I haven't actually seen it.
Some of the I haven't watched them, but I've noticed some of the the animated DC shows that they have, like Vixen, and I can't remember what the other one was. Maybe it's just Vixen. That they have on CW Seed, like they'll cross over, so they'll have like Felicity Smoke in that show, and Emily Bett Rickards will voice her. Same thing like with Cisco and some of those other characters. So characters from the live action shows will show up in the animated, but it's not as connected as the
live action,
like Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of. Oh, sorry. Oh no, I was just saying it's kind of interesting how they do that.
Like even because I've seen like the first few episodes of Vixen. They don't really show it anyway, like 5 minutes I think. And Arrow and the Flash both have been in the episodes with Stephen Amell and
Grant
Gustin.
Yeah.
Yes, Grant Gustin voiced them too. So
yeah, I mean I've seen them, like the little teasers for them pop up on Facebook, and I'm just like, oh, I should try that out. And I never do, but yeah, they look pretty good. So more of that.
Yeah, I've only ever seen Constantine in his appearances in Arrow.
Yeah, me too. I haven't watched the NBC show, but that's all right.
That's it for nerdy news.
So I guess this is where I should pop in with my news then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I figured I should announce. I've already told the girls, and it's been on Facebook and everything. I even wrote in feedback and mentioned it on Traveling the Vortex. My husband Jared and I can talk, I swear.
No, you can't.
No, I can't. We are expecting a baby. We're 10 weeks along. Only having one. We've had that question asked several times.
There's precedent. Let's just say there's precedent on one side of the family. So.
Well,
both
yeah.
sides of the family.
But Jared's a twin, and there are a lot of twins on his side. So they're all like, "Are we having twins?" Like, nope, there's just one. Had the doctor's appointment, or the first doctor's appointment, and got to see the ultrasound, heard the heartbeat. There's only one head, and it's quite cute if I do say so myself, but I'm biased. Due date is beginning of August 3rd. So, and yes, I have been sick as a dog, but I'm hoping that is going to pass soon. So, and thank you people for well wishes and stuff. We're very excited. And yes, Sean, this was very much on purpose. Vortex Sean had some choice comments on my Facebook page about it. And if you know Sean, he likes to crack jokes about said things, but it's all in good fun.
Sean's got a very interesting sense of humor. It's like there's a reason we're all friends.
Yeah. It's very immature, but it could if you didn't know any better, you could be easily offended by it, but
Yeah. We know better, so we're just like, and insult him back just as harshly.
We know where it's coming from and how it's coming.
Exactly.
he has a good.
Anyway. Unless I guess unless I don't think any of us are going to be making an announcement say too soon. I guess unless Keith and Sarah, have gotten ahead of you and just haven't said anything. I think you're this will be the first podcast maybe between the
That
two
is
shows.
true. I mean, Glenn has 2 kids, but they were born well before their podcast.
I don't think Glenn's going to be having any more. So
Yeah, not to my knowledge.
Not-
of course,
not yet, but-
he has to consult us on these things.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, it could very well possibly. And the way I announced it on Facebook, I found a video clip of the Doctor Who episode Amy's Choice, when the doctor comes up and pregnant. I'm not that pregnant yet. And the doctor says, "You swallowed a planet," and she has to keep saying, "Doctor, I'm pregnant," like 3 or 4 times before he finally looks at her and says, "Are you pregnant?" That's how I posted on Facebook, and I guess people got the gist of it.
Hey, if you can't make your pregnancy announcement without a Doctor Who reference, what's the point?
Yes. Although when we told our family, we told Jared's family, because my brother-in-law and his wife are having a baby. They're further along than we are. They were going to announce the baby's gender on a date, and they started a text message going back and forth, and they didn't find out the baby's gender because the baby wasn't cooperating, and they were just saying, "Oh yeah, we didn't find out." So Jared just kind of snuck a little thing. "Oh, by the way, a picture of Yoda saying there is another." That's how we announced it to his family.
No, there is another.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So it's that was when we found out that was Jared's. Well, it wasn't just Jared's insistence. He's like, we got to do something nerdy.
Yes.
And I was like, I was all for this. And now he's already cooking up family cosplays.
Oh yeah.
Aw, cool.
So far we've got Han, Leia, and an Ewok.
Aww.
Cute.
Yes.
Adorable.
So very exciting. And I've been looking up geeky kid costume clothes ideas. So far I found that Think Geek has little Star Trek onesies with little tutu skirts on them.
I ordered a onesie for my nephew from Think Geek. That's like, I'm a little ball of gas.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Anyway.
funny.
Baby's fun.
Yeah, alrighty. Well, shall we move on?
We shall move on.
Alright. I'm a little lazy. I didn't actually bother to get up and get a hat. I just have all the slips in a plastic baggie.
That works too.
Whatever works.
They're in a container. We're not literally drawing names from a hat, so
We wouldn't have known one way or the other.
it's a Ziploc baggie. So that's where I store them in, so I don't lose them. So, but anyway, we haven't done this in a while. I think the last time we did this, it was like back in last summer. So
It's been busy.
we figure it's been quiet. We're in between shows at the moment after last week's quite emotional episode. I thought maybe just drawing names out of a hat might be a good
Yeah.
might
let's
be
do
a
that.
good way to really kick off 2017. So, all right, I'm gonna shake these suckers up and then draw one out and then see who we get. Maybe we'll get a girl this time. I don't think we've all done nothing but men so far. this time. So it might be nice to get a female of the acting variety this time. So let's see if the paper gods listen to me. So drum roll, please.
Do what you're told.
Yes.
Da-da.
Hey, they did listen to me. Yay! Oh, this should be fun too. Dame Maggie Smith.
Yay! I love her. She is so my favorite.
As we all frantically go to IMDb.
I don't have to do that.
Well, I guess there is that little franchise that she was in several years ago, among other things.
Professor McGonagall, and I'm like, I think we talked about this when we had Alan Rickman and draw him out of the hat, and also that other thing that happened last year. Anyway, and we said like we couldn't imagine anyone else playing Professor Snape. I couldn't imagine anybody else playing Professor McGonagall, quite honestly, than Maggie Smith. Once I saw her in costume and playing the part, I was like, oh yeah, that's her. Nobody else is going to ever do that same way. She's just so fun in that role. I mean, she's stern, yes, because that's what the character is, and you don't think much of her, and then like when I after I saw the movies and then I was reading the books, I'm like, now I can't see anybody else, and I just imagine her as the role because she owns it. And
she's
and then
a very long career. I mean, her IMDb list is quite long. It goes back to the 50s.
Well, first thing I remember ever seeing her in was in The Secret Garden. She was the house it's one of the housekeepers. She's like more the caretaker of the house, and she's just so in the movie she's just so again she's really stern and very follow the rules, and if you know the story, the now I can't remember her name. I guess I will have to go look it up. But then like my favorite part of that movie is at the end of the movie, which it's been like more than 20 years, so if you haven't seen the movie, go see it. Where the kids are walking across the field with the dad, and all the servants are looking out the window, and she sees the one little boy is walking, and he has been her charge since he was a baby, because the dad up and left pretty much after his wife died, and she's just so overjoyed that this boy who's been an invalid all his life is finally walking, and he's happy and all these different things. And I'm just like, oh, you weren't just a stern, grumpy old woman or anything like that.
I think the first thing I actually ever saw her in was Sister Act.
Yes.
She was Mother Superior.
Mother Superior, yes.
And again, very stern, very by the books, very, unbendable, not really has a sense of humor, but by the end, she...
And little known fact for Sister Act, Carrie Fisher helped script write some of the scenes between Whoopi and Maggie Smith's character.
That's probably why they're so funny.
Oh, I'd forgotten she was also in Hook. She was the older Wendy Darling, and that that is not a stern role. That was very. No. She's very much got the twinkle in her eye, and trying to remind Peter of being Peter Pan and all these things. So it's kind of interesting because she's playing opposite Robin Williams, who was known for being a funny character, and in that role he's kind of the stern, no nonsense sort of thing. And so it's like that's kind of an interesting dichotomy. Trying to see what else.
Harry Potter is like the biggest thing. I've only watched one episode of Downton Abbey, so
Downton Abbey she is just having the time of her life playing that role. I was so sad the reason I was sad when Downton Abbey was finished, which I mean I can understand 6 seasons, but I'm like, oh, I won't get to see the Dowager Countess. anymore.
The Dowager Countess and, who is she kind of frenemies with?
Penelope Wilton.
Yes.
Harriet Jones, former Prime Minister.
Yes. Former MP.
Oh my gosh. It was, those two were so adorable.
Mm-hmm.
That's been on my long list to watch.
Oh, I think I was watching the first episode, and I was like realizing that these two were kind of be playing off each other, and I was just like, I feel like this is Christmas. And again, like the characters are quite different. Like the Countess, she's very traditional. The she's steeped in the aristocracy.
Isabel.
Isabel, probably.
Isabel.
And she's all about tradition and going by the book, but she has this little sparkle to her where she can say whatever she wants because she's old and has wisdom and nobody questions her. And then there's Isabel, who is very forward thinking, is embracing the changes coming about and wants to do things differently at the estate and everything. And Lady Violet just gets all indignant and huffy, but not in a way that's off-putting or anything. Like, you can see her point of view. It's not like, the old traditions are dying away and you have to make way for the new ones. It's kind of a way of saying you can have these new things happen, but respect and revere what came before, and there's probably a place for the old ways in the future as well. And I really liked how that is, because so many times with those kinds of stories, they're like, all the new stuff's the best, and let's just toss out the old traditional ways with the garbage. And it's like, that's not what that show was about at all. It was more about celebrating both. And I think those two women playing off each other like that, I think they did a really good job. Like, that was sort of the symbol of that in a lot of ways. Anyway, I'm being analytical here. But they were just so much fun.
Oh, I know.
It's amusing to me, like, some of these movies I see, like, they've been on my list to see. And now that I know that Dame Maggie Smith, and I'm like, ooh, they're bumping up.
She's just fabulous. So, I mean,
Yes.
obviously, can't. I think we wax poetic about Harry Potter in general. I mean, we did an entire show about Harry Potter and the universe,
yes.
and
it keeps coming up when we have these episodes where we do the name out of the hat thing.
Yeah. Harry Potter's one of those where it's like, it's like Doctor Who or Game of Thrones. Everybody's been in it.
Yes, everyone British have either been in Harry Potter or Doctor Who.
Yep.
Or both.
Or both.
Yes.
There's a lot of crossover, so although she's not been on Doctor Who yet.
That would be amazing.
Like, what kind of character?
I've also seen a lot of people saying that they would love to see Maggie Smith as a female doctor.
Ooh. That would be interesting.
Would
She'd
be
definitely be the
interesting.
oldest to have the role.
Yes.
Or a time lady in general.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go back to Gallifrey, and she's like the.
She could be an incarnation of Romana.
Ooh.
The regeneration of Romana.
Oh, yeah.
That
Or
could
the
be
Death
fun. Because we know the relationship between the Doctor and Romana, and it could be very sassy. So I could easily see her being an incarnation of Romana,
Especially against Peter Capaldi's Doctor.
I would love to see that.
That would be awesome.
That would be a total sass off.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind.
So
I wouldn't
I
mind
wonder if
hoping.
Capaldi would be a little too chivalrous to try to get her, though.
Could someone shoot off a letter to the new showrunner?
Chris Chip,
No,
Chip
no.
like, here's an idea
Dear
for you.
Chris, I don't know what you got planned for Series 11, but
You could squeeze in Maggie Smith as a time lady and have her and Peter Capaldi snarking off each other.
I mean, at least if not in series proper, maybe a Children in Need little
Yeah.
one-off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Red Nose Day special, maybe.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Bring it on. Yes, no, she's definitely. I mean, as far as an actress. You look at the type of movies. I mean, she's done everything from, fantasy and comedy to, all sorts of stuff. Obviously, being British, I'm sure there's some share in there somewhere. Yes, right there. Much Ado About Nothing in 1967. I am pretty sure that Merchant of Venice. There you go. So
And Richard III.
yeah, and she has done not just Shakespeare, because he's also he's a British institution, but she also done. Some people may not realize this, but actually she knew Dan Copperfield together.
Yeah, I saw that little a post about that. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Apparently their previous working relationship helped Daniel get the role of Harry Potter. So we have her to thank for having, The Boy Who Lived. So.
Yeah. Well, and I can imagine, because the kids in Harry Potter, they were unknown when they were cast, and I can imagine them knowing someone on set would maybe help. I mean, they're professionals. I mean, they'd make it work, but
oh yeah,
I'm sure that it was kind of help grease the wheels a little bit and make them feel at ease.
Oh yes.
Especially when you're surrounded by the cream of the British acting crop, and you're 11 years old and you're like, holy cow!
Yeah.
All these people. It could be intimidating, I'm sure.
Oh, I bet. Oh.
I was just looking at that cast listing of Richard III. My gosh, he was in good company. Ian McKellen, Robert Downey Jr., Annette Bening, Jim Carter, who was the butler on Downton Abbey.
British acting pool people, there's 12 of them.
Yep. It's just, gonna have to try to check that one out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know, that's the thing about episodes. We're like, oh, that one sounds good. I need to watch it.
Watch that.
Especially they do these, these Shakespeare things every now and then, and they make them available. Either on PBS or sometimes Fathom events will show them in select movie theaters and all that. Like, David Tennant did the whatever with Catherine Tate in the last couple of years.
What you do about nothing? That was.
Well, it's like Shakespeare is like. Every British actor's been in at least 4 or 5 Shakespeare plays.
Pretty much.
That's what they do.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. It's a rite of passage. You can't be in that 12-member British acting pool unless you've done Shakespeare.
I love how we say there's only 12 of them.
It's a rotating 12, but there's 12 of them.
Yes.
Yes. And they're everywhere.
They are everywhere. So that's the thing. Is we draw one of these names out of a hat. If it's someone British, odds are they're connected to everyone else that's still in the hat, and probably the ones we've already done.
Yep.
Okay. But yes, Dame Maggie Smith. She's fabulous and still going at it even after. Being in ill health. Actually, she was suffering from breast cancer while doing Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But she's in remission, or however you want to call it for right now. So that's good. So, and maybe we'll get lucky, and maybe McGonagall will make a cameo in one of the Fantastic Beasts universe. Sequels.
The way wizards age, they wouldn't have to.
Exactly.
They wouldn't have to recast because
Nope. Just may need to make her look a little younger, but
They-
hey,
they-
you know what? They can do that.
They can do it.
Yep. Right. Well, shall we draw another one?
Let us draw
Yeah.
another one.
Okay. Let's see. Oh. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Okie dokie.
Alrighty.
Got it. Let's see. We're going to stay in the British acting pool? Odds are probably yes. Yes! I would be correct with that assumption. So, we're going back to the male category, but that's okay. It is Ian McKellen.
Ooh.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings and X-Men.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I'm playing the Lego Dimensions I finally got, and like one of the first playable characters is Gandalf.
Yeah.
Does he voice it, or is his voice used?
It's not. Yeah,
Or are there voices?
it sounds like him, but I could be wrong. They're all good at that kind of stuff, but it sounds like him. I could be wrong about him voicing it.
They could have.
Well,
they
now
could
I
have
have
taken,
to find out.
They,
Yeah, me too. Because
yeah.
it's like I said, it sounds like him, but I could be totally wrong. I don't think so, because I think it's the same person who did him in the movie, though, the Lego movie.
That could be it. Yeah. Or they've just taken you know, bits of him doing other stuff, but probably not. So, but yeah. Oh. Talk about another person who's got a very long CV.
No kidding.
Yeah. Wikipedia doesn't even list all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually a separate article from the main Ian McKellen article. It's
'Cause
Ian
it's
McKellen
so
Roles
long.
and Awards.
Yeah.
It has to be its own page.
And once again,
I mean-
Shakespeare, Macbeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
First
Hamlet.
one I saw him in, at least I think it was him. I believe it was Richard III, but now it's not being listed.
Richard III,
Yeah, it
1995.
Maybe King Lear. I think he's done King Lear.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
It's under film. It's not under stage. But yeah, he was Richard III. We saw it in when I took Shakespeare in college. That was the history play we studied that semester, and so we watched that version of Richard III in class, and it was like, that's intense.
Yeah.
Of course, Richard III is an intense play, so
Mm-hmm.
Stardust.
yes, he was Stardust. He was also, he was in Doctor Who as well. He was the voice of the Great Intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So his voice has been in Doctor Who, but not his face. But that's okay.
And he was in David
It counts.
Copperfield.
He was in David Copperfield with Maggie Smith and
Smith.
Ada Radcliffe. He was in Rasputin with Alan Rickman. So, and of
6
course,
Degrees of
yeah,
Separation.
yeah. And of course, he's Gandalf and
Magneto.
Magneto. So,
Magneto.
as we've
That
all
was-
seen the T-shirt, the photo of him wearing the T-shirt saying, "Yeah, I am Gandalf and Magneto. Get over it."
No, it was interesting because the Lord of the Rings and the first couple X-Men movies were coming out like roughly around the same time. So it's like, he's this big name actor in these great big, blockbuster movies. And you're just kind of like, dude, how do you have the time for all of this?
Right?
Especially, where you consider Lord of the Rings was filmed in New Zealand.
And for an upcoming project, he's the voice of Cogsworth for Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
So it just keeps going around and around.
Yeah.
There's something else. He was one of the better parts of the Golden Compass. He played. I'm not going to pronounce it. I never could. But the polar bear thing. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've read the books or seen that movie.
Eric Bernison.
Sure, we'll go with
Sure,
that.
we'll go with that. I'm just reading it off Wikipedia.
No, he has done some voice work in video games. He did the Lord of the Rings, a couple of the Lord of the Rings video games. So,
Mm-hmm.
which the Lego one, Lego Dimensions, is not mentioned on here, so I guess we can assume that that's
I think it's
not
the
him.
actor who voiced him in the Lego movie.
Yeah.
Well,
they even note that because some of the voices or the voice work from that actually came, excuse me, was lifted directly from the movie, so it wasn't actually him voicing it. It was they took his voice from the film.
Yeah,
and used it.
The game they had like a cutscene of, it was a cutscene from the Lego Lord of the Rings game, which was lifted from the movie, which made any sense.
Yeah. And then, have any of you seen the movie Mr. Holmes? I know it was one I was.
That's
on
on
my
the list.
It is on the list, but I haven't gotten
pile.
into it, so.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that movie happened, and I never got to see it. Like he was Sherlock, and he was retired, and but then he has one last mystery to solve, one last adventure.
If I can find that thing, because I remember like he was with like a kid, and I recognized the kid. I have to look at the picture to remind me of the kid. So I recognize him from something else, the kid from something else. Or not.
And I guess we would be remiss to if we didn't mention Sir Ian's long-standing and oh so entertaining friendship with Patrick Stewart.
Oh
yes.
Well, they met on the X-Men movies, and because they were so much older than everyone else, they just sort of hung out all the time while they were filming the first X-Men movie.
It's a bromance for the ages, I tell you.
And it makes sense,
they're like the best of friends.
Yeah,
well, it makes sense because their characters were also best frenemies.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wouldn't call Magneto and Professor X best friends, but they're friends.
But they won't be enemies, though. In the beginning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, seeing those two pop up on social media, just whatever it is they're doing, it's like you didn't really ever think of those two being buddies. But now that they are, you're like, oh, duh, that works so well.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't they be?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else can you say about him? Like, he's just been in so many things. He's
just two big franchises. The X-Men universe and then the Tolkien universe, and the fact that he was able to not just do Lord of the Rings, but also The Hobbit. So, because it's funny, like I said, when we were rewatching, the Lord of the Rings, and, they get to the end of filming everything, and, Chauncey and I were, like, counting, because they're all like, this is the last time. Orlando Bloom is all like, well, it's the last time I'm going to wear the blonde wig and carry the bow. And I'm like, no, it won't be, but you didn't know that when you said that. So it's like, there was like 5 or 6 people that were in the Lord of the Rings that came back for The Hobbit. And of course Ian McKellen was one of them, because Gandalf was kind of important. So.
Yep. Well, and I remember, I think it was actually when the Vortex Boys were interviewing Peter Davison at Time Eddie. Yes, I think. Anyway, and he was talking about the Five-ish Doctors reboot, and how some of that came from the set in New Zealand of The Hobbit, and how. I mean, because you think of Ian McKellen, and he's like this prestigious actor, and he's like, you think, oh, he's not going to want to do anything, silly or goofy for, a low budget Doctor Who thing. I mean, that was the way Peter Davison was kind of characterizing it, a little self-deprecatingly, and it was just like Ian McKellen was just so excited. He was happy to do his little bit for the video, and it's like, you think about these actors, and a lot of them kind of have this real, oh, I'm better than you, or I don't need all you little people. I am a prestigious and elite artist or whatever, and then you got people like, and you kind of think Ian McKellen's going to be like that, and then he's not quite that way, and he's happy to do the fun little vanish type of things, even though Five-ish Doctors wasn't a fan film, but it was, what I mean.
I mean, it was kind of a fan film. I mean, Peter Davison was a fan, so, and it was for the fans, so it's a fan
and
film.
it's
a short little thing, but it's like you've got Peter Jackson, who before doing Lord of the Rings, he was just kind of this guy that did these weird like sci-fi, like arty type movies, and then suddenly he's doing Lord of the Rings, and then next thing you know, he's doing The Hobbits, and they both make an appearance in the Five-ish Doctors reboot. And it's a short bit, but it's funny. Peter Jackson's all like, Sylvester's gone missing, and Ian McKellen's like, who?
Yeah, and it's like you think that they've forgotten how to have fun, and then they do something like that, like, oh, you still know what it's like. You still understand, like, this isn't supposed to be long and arduous. This is supposed to actually be enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. He's got a sense of humor. He's not above doing comedy if the need arises. Speaking of which, I've only ever seen like one episode, but if you ever see Vicious with him and Derek Jacobi, it is hilarious.
I want to see. I saw like clips of it like on Tumblr. I'm like, it looks really funny, and
it's quite funny. Yeah. And of course we can look forward to him being in Beauty and the Beast, and he's been sharing stuff on social media. So make sure, if you're not following Ian McKellen on Instagram, do so.
Mm-hmm. It's worth it.
I think I even reposted an image that he shared of himself as the non living object Cogsworth on our Instagram, actually. So, so we're likely to see him probably a bit more out and about plugging the movie, more than likely, which is always a good thing, because Lord knows what he'll get himself up to, especially if Patrick Stewart happens to be in the same area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, he's got 2 movies coming out next year, because he's in Logan. I say next year like it's still 2016. This year. Actually, they come out the same month. Logan comes out in early March, and Beauty and the Beast comes out in mid-March. So.
Wait, Ian McKellen is in Logan? I thought it was just Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart, but if Patrick Stewart's out and about plugging Logan, and Ian McKellen's out plugging Beauty and the Beast, odds are their paths are going to cross, and it's going to be fabulous. So.
I am for this.
Yes. At least we can only hope. It's like, the press junkets, get them in the same area, and the social media will just be fabulous. So, although I think half the time when they post stuff, it's purely to troll us. So. Which I think I don't know if I remember if it was Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart. I think it was on an episode of the Nerdist podcast. And they were talking about how they had like that one day where they were just running around New York, posting selfies and just being a couple of like touristy dweebs. And one of the two was like, yeah, we really just did that to mess with people. So, who knows? So. Actually, with the Logan movie, I would not be surprised if they put like a Magneto, cameo in there somewhere. I fully expect there to be, surprises because that's the way they like to do in the Marvel movies, whether they're the Disney-owned Marvel movies or other, company-owned.
Especially where this is, air quotes, the last Wolverine
movie. Yes.
I'm sure it is, because this is, Old Man Logan and all of that, but it's... Yep. We'll see.
We'll see. So, but yes. We shall see. And maybe, if they rewrite the timeline again, then...
Again.
Again.
And again. And again. Like
And
with X-Men, don't even bother trying to keep track of the timeline.
No.
It's just enjoy the movies.
Enjoy it for what it is. Oh my. Oh. Well, that was 2. Do we want to do one more, or are we good? We're not even in an hour. What do our listeners want to hear? It's not like this is live.
Let's do one more. We've got time.
I'm having fun with this.
We'll do one more. Let's live dangerously. Male, female, British, American. Who's it gonna be? Last one. Gotta be a good one. Gotta be a good one. Gotta be a good. Oop! I got 3. I don't need 3. They're stuck together. They're stuck together. Oh, good Lord. Well, apparently, if we want to make sure it's a decent length episode, he would do it.
Uh-oh.
What?
Uh-oh. Is this good, bad?
Well, I mean, they're all good. I mean, we all picked the names, so it's not like we didn't pick any.
Yeah, it's not people we like.
It's not like we made a list of people we didn't want to talk about. So,
like you, Justin Bieber.
Yeah. Thankfully, no Justin Bieber. Thank you, librarians, for that reference. No. Speaking of superheroes, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh boy.
Wow.
You want to talk about social media trolls?
He's worked with Ian McKellen and Maggie Smith and Richard III.
The British acting pool that's even letting other people in.
It's a trifecta. We pulled the hat trick.
We did it. It's like the Kevin Bacon thing.
Exactly.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Now it's out of a hat.
We did it in 3.
Where do we start with Robert Downey Jr.?
Oh boy.
I don't even know where to start with Robert Downey Jr.
Iron Man.
Well, yes.
I don't know. It's a start.
That would be a good place to start. You want to talk about somebody who was born to play that role. Talk about casting perfection on Marvel's behalf. I mean, he looks the part. But his own personal history, I think, also makes his ability to portray Tony Stark. I mean, they haven't got into a lot of, like, the super dark Stark gets into in the comic books. But let's just say that art does not... It imitates Robert Downey Jr.'s life. Kind of eerie. So, drugs, alcohol, just self-destructive behavior. And the fact that we got very lucky that he pulled himself out of that and got himself cleaned up and has essentially remade himself and got his second chance is great because, I mean, it's unfortunate when actors, the fame gets to them for whatever reason, the demons get to them and they get into drugs and alcohol and we end up losing them. Early.
Yeah, I think, the first time I really was aware of Robert Downey Jr. was exactly that. Like, he was in the news for, drug addiction and all that kind of stuff. It was early 2000s, and it was just kind of like, oh, yeah, he's a acting prodigy, I guess, acting as a young kid. He was in Hollywood. All his life, and it just kind of got to him, and it was just like, oh, isn't this so sad? And at the time, I was in high school, and I was like, oh, I don't really know who this guy is, but sure, why not? And then, he's an Iron Man all of a sudden, and I'm just like, wait, wasn't that the same guy? I don't know, I'm gonna go see this movie, and I'm like, whoa, this movie's awesome. this guy's awesome. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope he's not a jerk in real life or something, because I kind of want to like him, and then find out. I mean, he kind of has that snarky side that would make you think he's a jerk, but he kind of does it with a little wink, wink, nod, nod.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. No, from what I understand, he's like, you know, extremely nice. Wicked sense of humor, obviously. I think that's kind of a requirement to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes.
But from what I understand, he's a very nice gentleman. You know, obviously, huge star, so he's gonna create chaos no matter where he goes. But you know, he's just a nice guy and has totally owned being Tony Stark, and it's obvious he loves the role, and you know, that's kind of his big thing. But he has played Sherlock Holmes a couple times, so, and apparently he's going to do it a third time if they ever get around to making the third movie.
And getting the right script.
Yeah,
that too.
So he's been acting since he was a kid.
Yep.
His father worked in the film, so
Yeah, like all his days, like he was 5.
yep. So his filmography is quite long as well. So it's a separate entry in Wikipedia as well.
The first movie I remember seeing him in was Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School, playing Rodney Dangerfield's son's roommate. It's worth the watch. It's an 80s comedy flick, but it's cool.
I don't know if I ever really
wasn't
saw him in anything before being introduced to the MCU. So I think maybe I may have caught bits of one of his appearances on Ally McBeal, but that's about it. So, and that was pre getting his life back together, I think. So,
the Shaggy Dog he's in, I remember seeing that.
Yep, that's right, with Tim Allen.
I haven't seen that, so I know it's one of those movies that's on the list. One of those that I know I need to see it because, one, it's Robert Downey Jr., and two, it's supposed to be a really good movie, is Chaplin, where he portrays Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, I heard that's really good too.
Yeah, so.
And I heard The Judge, like one of the newer movies besides
which
Iron Man.
I had not seen The Judge. I will say that I kind of have a love-hate relationship with that particular movie because the Heartland Film Festival, which is a film festival that happens here in Indianapolis every year, a lot of the movies they show are not anything that anyone would recognize, but every now and then they will show a movie that's more of a Hollywood blockbuster type movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a screening of The Judge the year it came out, and Robert Downey Jr. showed up, and I was not in town.
Oh yeah, I remember you.
I was so mad. Like, if I had been home, I would have gone out the door so fast to go hunt him down.
You're like, I got somewhere to be.
Yeah. Like, bye, see you in Winnipeg. I've got Iron Man to go hunt down.
And we'd be all like, Robert, watch out for this one.
Yeah,
she's coming for you.
Pretty much. I know Chauncey was intrigued because there's like a shot in one of the trailers and he's wearing a Metallica t-shirt. And Chauncey's like, oh, maybe I want to see that. He's wearing a Metallica t-shirt. I'm like, it probably has nothing to do with the movie whatsoever. He's like, I don't care. It's a Metallica t-shirt.
That sounds like more Tony Stark than
I know.
the character, from what I can understand.
Yeah.
Tony does enjoy his band t-shirts, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Oh. What
Maybe
else?
that was
What else has
what?
he been in?
One other
Easter
thing
egg that he did.
Yeah. one other thing he did, and excuse me, I think he's done this in other instances, but I saw there was a video of him presenting a prosthetic arm to a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This was a couple of years ago, and he's in the Tony Stark persona, but you can't really tell until like mostly all the way through the video, because it's like, is this Robert Downey Jr. or is this Tony Stark? And he's just having so much fun with this kid. I mean, this kid is obviously starstruck because holy crap, it's Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting his prosthetic arm because he was born. One of his arms wasn't. He was born without one of his arms. And, he's just having so much fun with this kid. And, he's got, like, his Iron Man gloves, like, hey, look, I can do this, and all these different things. And the arm that the kid got was made to look like an Iron Man arm. So it was kind of cool. And he was, and all he was doing, like, he didn't make the thing, or he was just presenting it on behalf of the charity he was working with. But it was just, like, when you see him interacting with kids at premieres or different events and things, it's just like, oh, you really are. You really are just a warm and fuzzy little teddy bear, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Oh, excuse me.
Here's a movie I didn't find out until right now because I was looking up, but it looks really interesting, called The Singing Detective. It's a comedy / crime / musical, apparently.
Sold. Well,
He can sing.
He can carry a tune. So, maybe one thing that people don't realize about him is he can croon. So he sang at least once I know of on Ally McBeal. So he is capable of singing. Musicals are not really something he's really done, but I wouldn't count it out at some point. I guess as long as the right thing came along. So. Plus, he's just adorable. I mean, he's Tony Stark.
Music video he did, he lip synced to Elton John's "I Want Love."
Yes.
That is worth a watch if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. He did participate in the Ice Bucket Challenge when that was happening. So. He let his adoring wife Susan was the one to dump on him. So,
they are so cute.
They are. They're adorable. So his first marriage did not go very well, but that was during his in and out of rehab and one thing after another, and so his first marriage did end, but. Apparently, it took some convincing to have Susan even go out with him. Apparently, he asked her out twice, and she said no twice. Because they were working on a film. She was working on a film that he was starring in, and apparently she was like, "I have a real job. He's an actor. He's going to go off and do his thing. I'm going to go back and do my thing." But he convinced her otherwise, and they've been together ever since and have 2 children. So. His is just one of those stories. It's like, you did good, dude. You got a second chance and you took it and you've done good. Which is awesome. And I would love him to keep playing Tony Stark forever and ever and ever. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to happen. I'm sure we've only got a handful of movies with him left. But we'll take what we can get. So obviously we will be seeing him in Spider-Man Homecoming this summer. Unless you've not watched any of the trailers, I think it's no surprise that Tony Stark makes an appearance in the movie. And not just like a little cameo, like a short little thing. He's important to the plot, I think, of the movie.
Yep, he's there to guide and recruit Peter Parker. So
kind of.
look forward to that.
Yep. And of course we've got more Marvel movies after that. We've got Infinity War, both parts of that. He's possibly bound to pop up in any of the other Marvel movies as a cameo. So because that's the way it works in the MCU. There's always a Stan Lee cameo, but odds are, there's going to be another member of the MCU to pop up. So keep your eyes peeled for Iron Man in any of the other movies throughout this year. So they're supposed to start.
That's when they peel sometimes.
Yep. Well, unless they'll
off base.
What were you saying, Holly?
Is he supposed to make a cameo in Thor Ragnarok?
If it is, they're keeping it on the down low. So
okay. I thought I had seen something posted.
No, they've confirmed the other goatee wearing member of the MCU is making an appearance in Thor Ragnarok.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Okay, wishful thinking.
Yep.
They can't all be Avengers.
True.
And not all of them can have fantastic goatees, but 2 of them do. So do the math. If you don't know what we're talking about, we won't say anything else just in case nobody wants to be spoiled. So keep our mouth shut.
Now, Soap Dish is also another kind of good off-the-wall movie. I've seen it. It's him, Sally Field, Whoopi Goldberg, Carrie Fisher.
Cool.
Yeah. Elizabeth Shue, Terry Hatcher, Kathy Najimy. It's basically anything that can go wrong will go wrong on a soap opera that almost, the real life is almost like a soap opera. It's worth, if you want to have a chuckle about late 80s soap operas.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my. Robert Downey Jr.
I've seen Tropic Thunder, which is an interesting movie.
Yeah. That's not one I've seen, but apparently he's quite funny. So
You almost don't recognize him in that movie. Almost.
For good reason, I think.
Yeah.
Apparently he was a cast member at Saturday Night Live in the 80s.
It kind of seems like it's like who wasn't?
Yeah, well, that's true.
In the
80s. It was only for not even a whole season, apparently. He was only a member for 18 episodes in 1985.
Yeah, that works.
Yep. So, I'm going to have to go back and watch all the episodes of SNL and see if I can spot him. Like, where are you?
Go right ahead.
Yeah. So, Robert Downey Jr. Stay tuned to the MCU and the comic conventions, actually. So, he likes to pop up at those. There is a D23 Expo this year. So, possibility of an appearance? Maybe.
Watch
not.
the space.
Yeah, so.
Or watch a space somewhere.
Yes. Plus, he's fun to follow on social media. We share a lot from his Facebook page on our Facebook page. He's such a troll.
A lot of the fan art that he shares too. It's
that
just
too.
Cool.
He posts some hilarious stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna share another thing from RDJ.
Well, it's like some of that fan art. It's like I'm sure fan artists are all like, "Oh my gosh, he noticed my stuff," and it was just meant to be kind of a joke and not meant to be taken seriously at all. And then they're kind of like, "Oh, okay, that." I mean, I'm sure he enjoys sharing it, but it's just I can imagine the reactions of those fans who are all like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
I would be giddy and embarrassed all at the same time if that happened.
Yeah, depending on what the fan art is. As we saw when they were promoting Civil War, and one of the Jimmys, I can't remember if they were on Kimmel or Fallon, was talking about the science bros between Stark and Bruce Banner. And he was sharing some of the fan art, and it was getting more and more not safe for younger audiences. Of course, Robert and Mark Ruffalo are like, yeah, sure, whatever. More Robert than Mark. Mark comes off a little, I think he ggets embarrassed a little easily, but Robert's like, hey, sure, why not? The man's a troll.
Just a bit, yep.
Yep. But we love him. Oh.
Definitely.
Yep. Well, I think 3 is good. So not.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm starting to flag a little bit.
There's still plenty more that we shall save for another time. So.
Yes, and if you, dear listeners, have any thoughts on any of these actors that we've discussed today, or you want to, suggest your own for the hat when we bring it back, our email address is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com. Lots shorter than it used to be.
Yes.
And at our website, you can find all of our social media linkage, Facebook, Twitter, we're on Tumblr, Pinterest a little bit. We probably got to resurrect that some more. I don't know. We'll get on that. And Instagram is another place where we're quite active, so you can leave us comments or just interact with us, see what we're up to. And we love seeing your comments and things. And also, we're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play, so you can listen to us at any of those places, and also on YouTube. And watch out for YouTube. We do post things there from time to time that may be of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, just want to mention our Patreon page and our Patreon supporters, because you guys are all awesome for supporting us, and you make it possible for us to continue to put out a wonderful quality podcast every week. And if you would like to donate, you can do so at our Patreon page, which is at our website. You can also shop through our Amazon store, which is on our website, and you just go to Amazon through there and just buy whatever you're going to buy on Amazon anyway, same price. We get a little kickback, and that helps defray the cost of running a podcast. So plenty of ways to interact with us, support us, and all those great, awesome things that a lot of you already do. So thank you again.
Mm-hmm.
We love you.
Yep, we do. Yes, I was browsing Amazon the other day, making my shopping list for cosplay supplies. I will make sure when I make those purchases. So everything counts, folks. Everything from DVDs to toilet paper. So
yep.
It's all
and I had some Christmas money left over, and my old Nook is dying, and I decided I wanted to go with Kindle instead, so I bought one, which I'm quite pleased with so far.
That's good. That is good. Alrighty then. Well, if we don't have anything else, I guess we shall sign off for this week. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back next week, so that's what we'll be discussing on the next show. So, advantage to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. being off for a month in November, it comes back sooner from winter hiatus. Yeah. Just a heads up if anyone wants to join in on the conversation for next week. So
yes, definitely send in your feedback if you have any.
Yep. And with that, my stomach is growling, so we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Douglas saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
This is Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. I am Iron Man. been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by their respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.